Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here he is, your meteorologist with weather, Robbie Rains. Rob Cesternino, hello everybody, and welcome back to Rob Has a Podcast on a Wednesday night. Very excited for the show tonight because we have a great guest, one of my favorite people to talk Big Brother with. Here he is. He is the winner of Big Brother 15. The greatest rat floater of all time. Andy Herren. Andy, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing fantastic, Rob. Thanks for having me. It's always such a pleasure.
Very nice to have you here, Andy. Right now, we also are dealing with a situation at this hour. Right now, Alex Kidwell, possibly due to weather, is
Yeah.
unable to join us at this hour. We are hoping to get a live feed correspondent, somebody from the LFC, here with us sometime in the next 30 minutes or so to give us an update on everything going on in the house from tonight heading into our eviction and ultimate jury buyback, Andy.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited.
Okay, a lot going on. Andy, of course, was with us in Chicago, but very excited to catch back up. We want to get your
Yeah.
questions in for Andy, hashtag RHAP, and then also on our YouTube channel at robhasawebsite.com/YouTube. Andy, how has your summer been?
Summer has been great. Yeah, nothing too crazy or new. Just yeah, no, I mean, yeah, summer's been good. I haven't been teaching, so I feel like I've been doing I kind of lived this summer like a 13-year-old. I feel like I did like a bunch of dog sitting, going to the movies, going swimming, and it's been really nice.
Dog grooming?
Not grooming, just like sitting, taking dogs to the dog park. I don't think owners could trust me with grooming their dogs because I have no experience in that.
Yeah, well, I have
But
dog grooming on the mind. Very excited that it
yeah,
looks like
oh,
this Sunday night we're going to be joined by the greatest dog walker or dog groomer in history. Hurricane Glenn was going to roll into town this Sunday night.
has Big Brother never had another dog groomer?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You would think that it's such a common profession that you would think that
Yeah.
10 by now. And then tomorrow night for the eviction show and the buyback, Ian Terry will be back with us on a Thursday night with me for the first time. He was on with Jordan Parhar and Brent back when we were in Chicago. So good couple of nights in a row here on the Big Brother podcast. All right. So, Andy, we've got a lot to talk about. I know you came
Yeah.
into the season very high on the Nicole train. That you said Nicole is my friend. She's going to do great this season. I feel really good about her. How are you feeling at this point?
Okay, Rob, I'm a very mixed bag of emotions regarding Nicole at this point. This is a very weird season of Big Brother for me because she is my friend. Like, I will find myself, even if she's in the final two against someone who's more worthy, rooting for her because she is my friend and someone that I know in everyday life. But I think that she has made some mistakes. I do not think that she has played a perfect game by any means.
Mm-hmm.
Although I still think that she is playing and has the potential to still play better than people are giving her credit for. Like, I think that she has got it in her, and I mean, I could be totally wrong, and if I am, I'll admit it. But I think she could make some moves in these last few weeks that could solidify her as someone who actually is a formidable person to go to the end.
Can she change it around at any point to Nicole, winner of Big Brother 18, and we, the audience, are excited about it?
I think if she cuts Corey, I would be very excited about it. I think that that would be a huge, huge thing to do. And I mean, the thing is, she's been playing, I mean, kind of like the Sandra Diaz Twine on Survivor, like anyone but me strategy. I mean, I guess anyone but her or Corey. And it's working for her. I mean, she's deflecting the target when she has to. And I mean, I think it is relatively impressive to say that she's gone, 72 days without being nominated. I mean, James has too, but it's like, wait, James hasn't been nominated, right?
I don't believe so. Not in this
Okay.
season. Yeah.
But I
No.
mean, I still think that she's playing more offensively than James, and I think that she has the potential to possibly surprise us.
Offensively, like you are offended, or
No,
she's on offense?
like she's on the offense. Yeah.
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 Um,
So
what are
talk
your
about this
thoughts on
whole
her, Rob?
Corey thing. I mean, this was
Yeah.
probably just starting to come to a head. Well, no pun intended of anything of when we were back in Chicago, Andy. This
Yeah.
has really gotten to the point
It's
where this
it's
is
it's
very
grim.
concerning.
Yeah. No, it's grim, Rob. I don't love it.
Are you
Um,
ready to be the third wheel when the Corey rolls back into Chicago?
no, and that's the thing. It's like I mean, she can do whatever she wants, but a part of me wants her to get out of the house and be like, "Oh, what on earth was I thinking?"
Hmm.
And so I don't know, just and I feel like I also am a little bit, not a little bit, I'm a lot biased because Hayden lives in Chicago and is like my very good friend, and I love him so much, and I just like him so much more than Corey, and so it'll be weird if I like find myself with her and Corey for sure. I feel like,
Yeah.
especially because I've crapped on Corey all season.
Yeah. Can you speak at all to Hayden's response to any of this? I know that you are not him, but overall, what's it been like for him watching this
I
season?
just think that he checked out pretty soon. Like he hasn't. I don't think he's been watching the seasons for the past or the season for the past like month and a half or so. And I guess that's all I really can say about it. I haven't really talked to him too much about it, but I just think that it like he I feel like it was not great for him to like go on social media and like be bombarded with Nicole questions and stuff. And so I think he kind of checked out around mid-July.
Okay. But Andy, I know all the way back from Chicago, and that was probably like the third week of the season. Even
Yeah.
from that point, you were very high on the Paul train. You felt very good on
Yeah.
Paul. You were a very early adopter on
Yeah.
Paul. I felt good about Paul from an early point to this season. Paul certainly had his back against the wall, but is able to pull it out this week
Hmm.
and then ultimately come down off the block. How impressed have you been with Paul of late?
I think that Paul is one of the only people that is really, really playing to win. I mean, he's got his eye on the prize, and I feel like he is actively working. And I think that that is more than you can say about a lot of the other people in that house. And I think you could see it in this episode when he was staying up all night studying as everyone else was sleeping. I couldn't believe that everyone was sleeping. Like it blew my mind when we had a memory overnight challenge on Big Brother 15. Nobody slept. Everybody was up all night. I didn't get a wink of sleep all night, and I couldn't believe that these house guests, especially this far into it, were just going to bed, and didn't care.
Yeah. No, it really was crazy to see that and how badly he wanted it in this
Yeah.
competition. You tweeted that you thought it was a fun competition, but you thought it was a competition for babies.
Okay, well, like, did I misread it or something? Why were there 21 possible points when it looked like there were only 4 possible answers that they could put in? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, did I misfollow it somehow?
I don't know exactly if did you get a point for saying your name, because Paul did not seem to do that right. I don't know if there were like
Like maybe each one was worth like a certain amount as far like as further it scrolled. Like if you got it right away, it was worth more or something. Because
was it
right,
like
I'm not.
mega touch? If you answered faster,
But
you
like,
got more points.
yeah, like I'm not crazy in thinking that it only seemed like there were 4 answers, right?
It did seem like that, but that seems like kind of a lame memory contest, right?
Yeah, but I just feel like maybe the editing like didn't do it justice. But as I was watching it, I was like, oh, they're talking. That's Hurricane Tiffany. That's Hurricane Frank. And I had heard each one of them one time and didn't study at all. And I was like, this seems incredibly easy.
Yeah. That according to the chat room, they said there's 21 different questions were asked.
Okay, okay.
So I don't know.
But
That seems
I
like a lot of questions.
but I also feel the show did a crappy job of portraying that, right?
They didn't do a great job of really explaining how that was going to work. I didn't understand how the 21 points came into play there.
Yeah,
But
but I still thought this competition was really neat. I liked that it was something new. I thought it was a lot of fun. I like this.
so Andy, for once again, we got mention of Jody here in Big Brother
Yeah.
18. Is there smoke officially at this point? Not yet fire, but is there enough smoke to say that Jody is going to be brought back on a
You
returning
know
player
what?
season?
I don't know if Jody's ever going to come back, but I feel like maybe they just feel bad about what they did to her and they want to just keep giving her a few little shout outs here and there. I don't
Yes.
really know, but we'll see. I mean, I
Constant
was told by people on Big Brother 14 that even if they would have had a vote right at the beginning, that Jody would have been voted out. So I think Jody was pretty doomed from the beginning, and so it'd be interesting to see if Jody ever play again and see if she could survive past the first couple weeks.
Now, she's been getting a lot of play here in Big Brother 18, so I wonder
Yeah.
maybe the Big Brother digital season, will that be Jody's season?
Yeah, I'm saying it right now. That's gonna be Jody's season for
Yeah.
sure.
All right. So Paul ultimately ends up pulling himself off of the block, and he needs to do it because he is really backed into a corner. You had tweeted earlier tonight you didn't like the way that Paul was campaigning prior to having to win the veto.
Yeah,
Can you talk
I
a
thought he
little
was
bit
being.
about Paul in that situation and
Yeah,
what he did versus what he should have been doing?
I thought he was way too aggressive. I feel like when your game starts to get blown out of the water, I feel like one of the best things to do is just kind of sit back and be like, okay, I messed up, and then let other people implode around you. instead of consistently starting fights. You know, I mean, there were a couple times my season where things that I had told people came out, and I just like sat there quietly and let everyone else implode, and people forgot that I had like said something, you know? And so I feel like when you're backed into a corner like that, it's not the best idea to go on the offensive and let everyone become blatantly aware of the fact that you have been caught, essentially.
Yeah. So what was the point in the game where you were in that situation in Big Brother 15, Andy?
I remember Jesse had come to me and asked if I wanted to flip the house on Amanda, and I then went and told Amanda, and I told Amanda, like, don't say anything, but then Amanda's an idiot hothead and said something to Jesse, and like Jesse was like, well, Andy must have told you, and Amanda was like, no, he didn't, and Jesse was like, Andy is the only person I said this to, like, Andy must have told you. But then I just like shut up, and it was like a night where they were both fighting like crazy, and I just let the two of them fight, and then like Jesse forgot about it, and like I was in the clear.
Yeah, it was a frustrating conversation, at least from the TV perspective, between Paul and Nicole, and maybe they got into more of the meat of it on the live feeds, and I didn't see that scene, but it was just a lot of like, okay, what did I say? What did I say? I'm pissed. What did I say?
And then Nicole being like, I didn't do anything. What?
Why?
Yeah.
Like you said.
It seemed like they were going in circles. It was frustrating to watch, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't get you on the block. Like, you did, because you're a good player, and I've been telling people. Yeah, and they just were going back and forth.
Yeah,
and
it didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I did actually see the clip of when Corey had come out.
Oh, me too. I had seen that too.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I mean, and Big Brother did a really good job of editing that, where he comes out and is like, "Woo, I want to go!" Like,
I mean, that is Corey's game in a nutshell. Like, Corey is just consistently oblivious to everything that's happening around him, and I feel like that was a really good, very brief epitome of his time in the house.
Yeah, so that was very, very fun. But even Nicole, I was surprised that she's like putting Corey's hat on. She seemed like she was much more interested in what Corey was doing than what Paul was saying.
That's why I just like really want her to cut Corey at some point. I'm going to be so disappointed in her if she doesn't.
Andy, it's not going to happen.
Rob, I think it might. Don't slight her. I think she has it in her.
No, stop it. What makes you feel that that's the case?
Just because I've talked to her one-on-one, and I know that she knows the game better than she is letting on, and a part of me just like really wants to think that she's playing dumb, and when it comes down to it, she'll like make the move that she has to.
Andy, I think that this is fan fiction.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, yet again, I'll be the first to admit it if I'm wrong. Yeah. But I'm holding out hope for her still.
Yeah. Well, we'll see about that. Let's talk a little bit about Natalie. That's somebody else I know from Twitter that you were very high on. Are you still as high on Natalie as you have been in the past?
I go up and down. I mean, I'm consistently relatively up on Natalie, but I go back and forth. I feel like she is, like, I mean, tonight when she was like, am I being a brat? I was like, you kind of are being a brat. It's, like, not that big of a deal. I mean, sure, I think it sucks that Paul, like, fell asleep in her bed when she wanted to do her makeup, but, like, it's not that big of a deal, and I feel like she's kind of the type of player who, when she gets mad at someone like that, she'll target them, and, like, that's not the best strategically. But I still really, really like the way that she handles herself, for the most part, under pressure. Like, when she started crying tonight, that was a little ridiculous, but, like, I really still respect the way that she handled herself around Pauly and around like some of these guys when they come at her, and I respect that about her.
Yeah, at least from the TV perspective, it really, I don't think, painted a great picture of Natalie, of how she was really strategic and that she wanted to go after Paul, but then he took a nap in her bed. It was a real Goldilocks situation where somebody's been sleeping in my bed and it's Paul, and you know what? I should have trusted my gut. He needs to go.
Yeah, it was like, and I feel like, I don't know, I think it slighted her a little bit, because I don't think she's that emotional, but I still like think, I mean, she did say that stuff, you know, and she still did get upset about it, but I guess I haven't really seen a lot of the feeds from this week, so I don't really know how strategic she was being all week, so I can't really talk to that.
All right, well, speaking of the feeds, that help was on the way, that we had a jury buyback, and look who's showed up. That Taron Armstrong is here once again. He's like, Victor, you can't get rid of him.
Yeah, I was literally just about to go to bed, and I got a call from Brent.
Oh, my goodness. All right, well, thank you for jumping in here, Taron. That Alex having some tech issues, so at least you'll be with us to talk these things through.
I say upgrade from Alex. I'm glad
come on, Andy.
I'm
All
just
right.
kidding. I love Alex.
All right. Well, Taryn, that could you help us a little bit with the Natalie of everything? And we've talked about this a little bit in the live feed section of the show. Her decision to put Paul up on the block. The show certainly made the case that Paul's sleeping in my bed, and that's annoying. How much? How many different factors were there of why she ultimately turned back around and why she wanted Paul to go home?
It was largely because of his behavior during the studying for the veto thing. He was very forceful and kept her awake when she didn't want to be, and then like the sleeping thing, it was a lot for her to take. But it was also James really pushing her hard to be like, hey, listen, I know that emotionally you feel bad for Paul, but strategically it's best for us to stick with Nicole and Corey. I think it was the combination of those two things that eventually sold her on the idea of turning back around on it.
Andy, I think that James got screwed in the edit there, at least from a gameplay perspective, and maybe James doesn't ultimately care about that as long as they show him putting salt in Paul's water while he's working
Yeah.
out. But
Uh-huh.
they really didn't show James doing much of anything strategically other than saying like, I mean, if that's what you want to do, I mean, that's good with me. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it, so I feel like I can't really talk to it. But I mean, whatever. Sure, I guess. Like,
Yeah. So, Taryn, you're willing to give James a lot of credit this week in terms of making things go the way he wanted them to go?
He was very like light in how he handled it. Like he was saying things like, "This is how I see it. This is how I think we should do it, and this is why." But it's ultimately your decision, and I'll support whichever way you go. So he was very willing to be like, "Oh, but we will still take out Corey if you want." But I think that the best move to do is to take out Victor or Paul, and he ultimately did win the day. So I do think he deserves some
yeah,
credit for that.
yeah.
Okay.
After hearing that, I'll give him credit where credit's due.
Andy, I know you also said during the show tonight, as you were live tweeting, that you're sure he's a nice person, but you've had enough of James this season.
Just the way, I guess,
You're,
like what
you
I was
can,
saying is,
Let me
the,
quote you. Let me quote you. James seems like such a nice person, but he is an effing waste of space in the Big Brother house, and I'm so over it. What is he doing that's really getting on your last nerve?
I can't with him like pandering to America and like all the pranks, and I feel like it kind of irritates me because I feel like he's like a waste of a returnee spot. Like I feel like he's someone who really cares about like getting followers and getting fans when you could have thrown in a returnee in there that like would have actually played really hard. And I mean, I guess if he has been playing hard, then I'll give him credit, but I don't think he's been playing that hard, and I think he's been focused a lot on getting camera time, and it's annoying to me.
Hold on, Andy. I feel like it's hard for you at one point to defend Nicole and what she's doing in the house, and then you're killing James. This seems like a double standard.
I still think that Nicole has made more aggressive moves than James has. I think Nicole has gotten the target off of herself more times than James has.
Taryn, can you settle this?
I do think they're somewhat similar in how they're playing. I think they're both getting attacked more than they might even should be, because Nicole has been doing a decent job at sort of maintaining the advantage that being a returning player gave her when she entered the game, and staying out of people's radars. And she's in a great spot now, largely because she instigated this flip
Yeah.
to save herself this week. And I mean, like, granted, I understand the vitriol with the Corey stuff and the way that she just interacts in the house, but she really has been doing a somewhat decent job. And the same can kind of be said for James, who we talked about a lot during the early part of the season, where just by being James, he was doing decently well. He has definitely learned from his last season. He's throwing competitions. He's talking in the diary room about how he understands that being the swing vote isn't necessarily the best thing in the world because you get blood on your hands. I don't think he's like some strategic mastermind, but he's definitely somebody who's when you compare him to the rest of the field, somebody who's gonna clearly do decently well. And I do like this move from him this week. His biggest downfall ultimately will be failing to see this jury buyback coming. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that necessarily we should say James is like way worse than Nicole. I think they're somewhat on an equal playing field at this
Okay.
point. Although I do see Nicole as a higher player strategically. It's just that like James socially within this game has been operating on a somewhat similar level.
Let me jump to something you said about James at the end of the episode where he talks about, looks like this vote's going to come down to me. Boy, you hate to be in that position where you're the swing vote. Andy, should a Big Brother player hate being in the position of being the decider of what's going to happen in the house?
I mean, it's if they can cover their ass, no. Like, I was the decider in the Amanda eviction, and I covered my ass, and it worked. Like, if you can figure out a way to get the target off of yourself, then I don't think it's that bad of a thing to do.
Yeah, it really did seem to me, Taryn, as he hated the idea of having the spotlight on him and having to make a strategic decision.
Yeah, and it like when I say that, like it's something it's good for you if you're making the decision. It's better to do it when you're not in the spotlight as much.
Yeah.
Which is something that, like I'm saying, like it's not like he's necessarily like the most strategic.
Okay, Andy, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We lost Taryn momentarily. There's something in the air tonight, Andy.
Yeah.
But it's me and you to the end. But in terms of what James is doing, if James gets to the final two with Natalie, who's winning?
Natalie.
Really? I feel like it's going to be James. Why do you feel like
so?
Natalie will win over James? Who are the Natalie votes that are out there?
I think that Bridget.
Okay.
Michelle.
I think James is winning, Andy.
Really? I think Zakiya would vote for Natalie.
Okay.
I think that I guess like Nicole would vote for James. Corey would vote for James. Devon, who would Devon vote for?
I think she'd vote for James.
James.
She would like James.
We've got like 6. Who are the other 3? Who am I forgetting?
What are the sitting ducks doing? Paulie's voting for James.
Victor and Paul would vote for Natalie, wouldn't they?
I don't know. I think they're the swing votes.
Yeah.
And then let me give you a follow-up question. Nicole and Corey. Nicole in the final two, who's winning?
Nicole.
Are you sure about that?
Like, I feel like they're already saying, like, you're running everything. Like, I feel like people know that Nicole is, like, steering that ship.
I don't know. I don't know about that either, Andy.
Yeah.
Boy, if Nicole goes to the final two with Corey and loses to Corey in the final two, can Nicole walk away from this season with her head high?
Yikes, man! I don't know. That's real rough. I really don't want that to happen. I don't know, man. That would suck. I feel like I think she would know immediately that she had really messed up. You know.
Okay. What do you think the prospects are of Nicole and Corey outside the house, Andy? Let me put you on the spot.
I don't think they're very high. To be honest, I really don't.
Okay, so you don't think Halloween night you're going to some Halloween party with Nicole and Corey?
I mean, Halloween night's less than a month after or I guess a little bit over a month after the finale. So maybe I could feasibly be going to a party with them on Halloween night. But I think come Thanksgiving party time, I don't think they'll be together anymore.
I think even Lidston made it to Christmas, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. Like, yeah, whatever.
And what about the James and Natalie? Who's together longer, James and Natalie or Nicole and Corey?
Man, I don't think either one is going to be together very long. I would say maybe I'll even give the edge to Nicole and Corey.
I think so too. I think that's the smart money is Nicole. I'll give you 10-1 odds on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So for Paul and Victor now, the sitting ducks, I know you've been so high on them. You've also been super high on Victor. What has Victor done well this season that has made you become such a fan of his?
I don't even think that Victor is that amazing of a player. I just think that Victor is likable and sweet.
Well, by comparison.
What? Yeah, well, but I mean, Victor's problem is that he walks around talking about all his damn competition wins. And it's like when you do that, you make everyone nervous and they want to get rid of you. And so I feel like that's like a big downfall of his. But I also do think that Victor was like a nothing when Victor was evicted third or whatever. And I think since coming back, he has shown more strategic chops. But I still don't think they're enough to get him to the end to win.
So do you think that Victor is a good player?
I think Victor is like a half good player.
Okay.
I think
how many good players were in this season, Andy?
What?
How many good players were in Big Brother 18?
I think this was a rough season when it comes to good players.
Give me the roster. Who are the good players in Big Brother 18? Name names.
Paul.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to say anyone that's been evicted because if you've been evicted, you're not a good player, I don't think.
Wow.
So I guess
Spoken like a real winner.
yeah, Natalie.
Okay.
And those are probably the best. And Nicole.
Okay.
Just to.
And I had high hopes for Nicole too this season.
Yeah.
I picked her to win from the start of the season. In my mid-season draft with AJ Mass, I picked her to win, but I'm just not seeing the eye of the tiger here. It's just like Corey this, Corey that. I mean, that was so damning, I thought, where they have to study for the veto competition. They need to win the veto to stay off the block. They need to be. I mean, I know Nicole.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like we've still got 7, and then I mean we've still got 7 people left for another week because someone's gonna go and then come back. And I feel like when we had I want to say 8 or 9, like was when I was still like very much working with Amanda. And I feel like when I got off the show, my favorite Entertainment Weekly recapper wrote like an entire entry about like how terrible my gameplay was and how I was playing all for Amanda. And then at the end of the season, he like reneged it all and he was like, oh, like I didn't see what he was doing. And so like that's why I'm like remaining hopeful that Nicole could possibly be doing something similar, but it's not looking as promising as it did with me and Amanda.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Amanda, one of the people that we've seen Amanda has been conjured up this season that you compared Paul Calafiore to Amanda from the point that Paulie looked like his game was falling apart. Could you talk a little bit about why you feel like that they were so similar?
I mean, I think that they were both just like blowhards who, when they got power, got like drunk with power. You know, I mean, they were people who, but I still think that Amanda was more, I mean, I guess Amanda did scream at a lot of people too. But I feel like they were people where they did not handle power very well, and then they did not handle their fall from power very well either. You know, it's like when you've got power, I feel like don't act so boastful and don't brag so much. And then when you lose it, don't cry about it and scream at everybody and be a baby about it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they both kind of let their emotions get the best of them. And Amanda will be the first person to admit that like she's an emotional, like hot-headed person. But yeah, I still think that Amanda like showed more kindness towards a lot of people than Paulie did. I mean, she would yell at people, but then she would like apologize. And I feel like Paulie didn't have that much remorse towards the people that he was terrible to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, we have a very interesting situation here, potentially. So we have this buyback coming up, Andy, and if we are going to be rooting for Paul, and in your case, that if you're a Paul fan, you're also a Paul fan and a Nicole fan, it seems to me, from an outsider's perspective, that you almost have to be hoping for a return of Paulie to the house to help the case of those two players.
Nicole. Yeah. I'm not, just because I really, really hated Paulie so much. I'm really
Andy,
not.
How could you hate me?
Yeah, no, I really, really did. Like, more than I've disliked another player in a really long time. And so I'm really not hoping for a Paulie comeback. Like, that's all I'll say.
But is it going to happen, Andy?
I don't know. It all depends. I mean, if it's like an endurance or like strength competition, it could come down to Victor versus Paulie for sure. But you never know. I mean, it could be a crapshoot like it was in Big Brother 16, and like a Zakia or a Bridget or someone could come back. And I guess I won't slight Bridget. She's pretty good at comps too. And so we'll see.
But really?
I mean, she did pretty well in a lot of them. Yeah.
I guess
better than most of the other women.
I guess so. So what you're hoping for a Bridget return to the house? I
would be happy with a Bridget return. I liked Bridget quite a bit.
Because doesn't that just bolster the James and Natalie side of the house?
I don't think so. I think Bridget's kind of like a free agent. I think she would I think whoever is playing the best would be able to get Bridget on their side. You know? Okay. But I feel like an entertainment perspective, it wouldn't be that great, but just because I feel so terrible for her, I would kind of like Zakia to come back, because I think that without Paulie, she could maybe redeem herself a little bit. And I just feel like she came across as so pathetic. It would be just nice for her to come back and be able to fix that a little bit.
Yeah, I do think as Zakia return to the house is potentially interesting, because I know on the Big Brother Happy Hour, reality TV Happy Hour, the guys were all very down on the prospect of Zakia coming back, but a Zakia coming back into the house without Paulie, I don't know what that looks like, Andy.
I agree.
Think maybe who knows? Who knows what she could be?
I very much agree with that.
It's like a completely new house guest that wasn't even on this season. Is like Zakia with her head not lodged where the sun doesn't shine.
Yeah, it was real rough to watch.
It was very rough. Very rough.
Yeah.
And I think that Davon coming back is also very, very interesting. I mean, what would Davon do?
I don't know. Davon, I think, is a total loose cannon too.
Yeah, it's really crazy to even imagine the prospects of what that could potentially be like in the House.
Yeah, I think more so than ever, this is going to be a really interesting jury buyback. I think that they're like, it's not like there's a dominant alliance running things. It's not like there's one player steamrolling through everything. And so I think that this jury buyback could potentially be a very interesting thing to throw into the game.
Andy, just put my mind at ease, though. If Paulie gets back in the House, he can't come back and win now, right?
No. I really don't think so.
Taryn, can you make me feel better about this so I can sleep tonight?
There's no way Paulie's gonna win. Okay. There's like a 0.5% chance.
Yeah.
But beyond that, there's no way Paulie's gonna win. Like, unless he went into that jury house and made friends with all of those women, which I really just don't see happening, there's no way he's gonna win.
Yeah.
Bred for this.
Yeah, he's bred for this. He's coming back.
He's
coming
not.
Back.
He's really not. What?
Yeah. It could be.
No, if any of those women vote for Paulie, they will never be able to forgive themselves.
Yeah. All right. So then, in terms of Paul and where he's at now, Andy, that you feel like that there you still have the James and Natalie contingent working with the showmans. I mean, what can Paul do? What's the case that he can make to get back in somebody's good graces?
I mean, he needs to first get Michelle. Like, I feel like he needs Michelle on his side, and without her, I feel like he doesn't have any chance whatsoever. You know?
Yeah. Can you tell me your thoughts on Big Meech? Have you been a converted Big Meech supporter?
I go back and forth on her. I think that she's also someone who, when she gets power, she can be kind of an asshole. And, like, that's never a good sign. But I do like the fact that she's got gumption behind her and she's not she's not afraid to speak her mind. And, like, she'll stand up to people when they're terrible to her. I like that.
Yeah. Taryn, I know that you were not super impressed with what Big Meech did with her co-HOH from the RHAP Hour. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, she basically, like I said on the RHAP Hour, like she's not really thinking in a strategic way. She's thinking in like, I'm gonna do what these people are telling me to do kind of way, which can be a good thing. And I think that ultimately she played it, about as well as she's probably capable of. But again, it wasn't coming from like a place of strategy. It was coming from a place of like, oh, they're telling me to do this, and now I'm fully on board with doing what they want me to do.
Andy, did you agree with Michelle's move to put Corey up on the block here instead of Nicole, who she wants to get out?
I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because, like, Nicole's already won a care package, and so if she doesn't want Corey to possibly get a care package, I understand that.
I don't know. I think that's the care package thing. I guess so, maybe, but it did seem like that they were really pushing Corey's so much better in competitions than Nicole. And now this is the time in the game, Andy, where the competitions are going to start to be more mental, more counting.
Yeah.
Like, how many more competitions is Corey winning this season?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, towards the end, they really are. Like, a lot of them are pretty mental. So
to be fair, the one HOH he won was some sort of trivia contest, but Taryn, that seemed very lucky. He won it on the second question. Everybody else got it wrong.
Well, hey, Rob, he is clearly a very perceptive, intelligent individual. You saw him do that dance with Nicole when she was arguing with Paul. Like, he clearly knows what's going on and is very situationally aware.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to pull something off similar to Dan's funeral.
Yeah.
Probably. This is a question, and we've lost Scott St. Pierre also along the way tonight. So
what is in the air tonight?
We're flying without instruments tonight. So I want to take some of these questions as we go here along the way. So this is from somebody on Twitter, Pooley Treg 9559.
Oh,
it's a mishmash, Scrabble tile Twitter name, but has a good question, who says, Andy, what's your take on the whole money sharing controversy that has come up?
Oh my God.
Was there anything like this brought up on Big Brother 15? Now,
yes,
obviously,
everybody does.
Let me ask my question, and then you'll have the chance to respond.
Okay.
All right. So for the people who are maybe not following the live feeds and maybe didn't have a chance to listen to the RHAP Hour, this idea of, hey, players talking about, if I win, I'll take care of this, or we'll all take care of you. In this case, that James talking with Nicole talked about how that there's going to be a care package of splitting out, giving out $10,000 checks, hooking up everybody, and there seemed to be some sort of like consent on Nicole's part that this was a plan. Andy, was this ever talked about in your season, this type of thing?
It's in the rules that you're not allowed to do this. It's also in the rules that you're not allowed to like climb on the furniture. It's also in the rules that you're not allowed to talk about diary room sessions. Everyone does it. And so I feel like the internet went way too crazy over this. It was super annoying. I got so many tweets to me being like, Nicole should be disqualified. And I was just like, I want to just get off Twitter for the day. This is so annoying and stupid.
How much money did you have to give Gina Marie at the end of Big Brother 15?
I feel like we didn't talk about specific amounts, but it was like, oh, I got you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember, like, I think I told Spencer I would, like, help him buy a fence, and, like, I never did.
A fence?
Yeah, but...
Hey, Andy, if I get to the end, I'll make you all the chicken parm you want for a year.
Yeah. But no, like, everybody does it. I feel like it is nothing that is, like, worthy of being disqualified, and so people need to just shut up about it and get over it.
All right, Taryn, you're of the same mind, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying in the last two podcasts.
Yeah.
But the fans get very upset about this. And I've told the story about how when I was in Survivor the Amazon, that there was a point where one of the people, and some people know this history very well, other people have no idea who I'm even talking about, but I was in an alliance with me, another guy, and two girls, and one of the girls in the alliance, Heidi, was talking about how it doesn't even matter who wins the game, because the four of us were just going to go into business and we were going to buy a Sonic. We were going to own a Sonic, and then four of us were just going to like own this restaurant.
The life that could have been for you, Rob.
And I don't want to own a Sonic. And I went and I told the producers, and I was like, hey, they're trying to share the money. You can't do that. And then they like lined us all up, and then they said, like, we heard there's a lot of talk about you can't share the money. You can't share the money. I'm like, but I don't want to own a Sonic. Yeah. And then she didn't win the game, but she ended up with more money than anybody. So what do I know? I should have gone into business.
How did she get more money?
She married a baseball player that's probably made like $250 million in his career. So
oh my God,
probably wouldn't have been a bad idea to get into business with them at some point. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? All right. So Andy, you think that this is much ado about nothing?
It's ludicrous that people are so upset about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like that this was something that was talked about preseason? Do you think that James and Nicole have been working together from the get-go?
No.
Okay. You just feel like that this comes up?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that it's nothing to worry about, or are you saying it's not really going to happen? Like James is never going to Western Union.
Both. I don't think it's anything to worry about, and I don't think it'll come to fruition.
All right.
I think it's something that you just say to like keep your ass safe, you know.
Taryn, do you agree with that? I know you said it's not a big deal. Do you also agree that it won't even actually happen?
Oh, I mean, no. Of course, he's not going to send $10,000 to three different people. And like, I think that the players in the game sort of understand that as well. Like, most people understand that this is something that does happen pretty often. And it's just like, oh yeah, we'll totally be best friends after the game. It's like, it's not really true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That I know last week there was a lot of, I'm coming down to Texas. I'm coming out to visit you in Louisiana.
I have literally never visited a single person at their home from my cast. So
yeah, there's a lot of talk about people going to go visit other people at their home. Yeah. And I don't know if that's ultimately
Helen lives 5 miles away from me, and I've never been to her home.
Yeah. All right. Here's a question from a great friend of the show. Brendan Villegas wants to know, I'm confused as to why Michelle would want to go to the Final Five with a Final Four. Now, this is something that we've talked about. I know that this gets Brent especially worked up, that Davon didn't want to do this earlier in the season. Andy, talk about this idea for Meech, that you like where she is sitting potentially to go to the Final Five with the two couples?
No, I think being fifth out of a two people on one side, two on the other alliance is great in the beginning and the middle of the game, but then you've got to get rid of it and you've got to break that up by the end, or else you're screwed. And so I don't think that Michelle is in a good position.
But don't you feel like that once you get to the 5, do you think that, I mean, are James and Nicole just so aligned at the hip with the showmances?
I guess it just comes like it comes down to a bigger game of chance with competition wins. I feel like instead of like really solidifying your place with like a non-duo on one side, duo on the other, you've got these two duos who want to take each other. And so if like Nicole and Corey win those last couple HOHs, they're going to get rid of James and Natalie, but then they're not going to take Michelle, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, but yet again, if Nicole does what I want, she would. But like,
well, that's not happening, Andy. She's not doing what anybody wants.
Rob, no, but like, I don't think that she's in a great position. I really don't. And I think that like she's going to be seen as expendable. Like everyone else wants to keep their number one with them. She's expendable. If like it comes down to it and they have to just throw someone out, it's going to be her.
Taryn, you've said that you like this spot for Meech. Make the case for Big Meech to go to the final 5 with the showmances.
Well, what's so great about being in this position where you're the fifth wheel with two different pairs is that, you know, sort of as Andy said, you know, even in worst case scenario, if you do happen to get down to final 5, you still have the best chance of any one in particular in that group to make it to the end. That said, I think that Andy is also correct in the sense that you do want to, there's still a chance to increase your odds if you're able to separate those pairs before you get down to final 5. The thing that makes it so great is that it can take you down a really far way into the game, and those two pairs are huge targets ahead of you. But again, like if you do get down to that 5, Andy's completely correct. You know, competitions could just go in the wrong way, and then all of a sudden you've found yourself on the outside of something. And especially if they're pairs that are showmances that are not going to, you know, be the John or the Drew that are going to cut their pair in order to, you know, take you along because they think they can beat you. So I do think that, but that said, I do think that Michelle is in a somewhat decent spot because I don't think that she really has the ability to do much better than what she's doing. And I think that, you know, her chances of making it to the end are a lot better than they ever have been. She could be doing a lot better, of course, but, you know, judging from where she was to where she is now, she's still kind of like on the rise as far as like her winner equity.
Big Meech on the rise. Andy, I've been beating the Big Meech winner drum for a couple of weeks now. Do you feel like that this is a potential likely outcome?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not beating the drum as hard as you, but I guess I'm like lightly tapping the drum.
Yeah. Lightly tapping is I think the right way to be because like despite the fact that I do think that she still has a somewhat decent chance of making it, I feel like her jury chances are just still pretty low. Even with the speeches and the jury cheering her on, I feel like her behavior in the house just leads people to believe that she just doesn't really have a lot I feel like
she reminds me of like a child, you know?
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. All right. Then let's take another question about this. This is one that, let me see. Okay, Jennifer Pollock wants to ask, can Victor win the game if he's evicted twice and comes back twice? And, okay, hypothetically, if Victor is to go out of the game on Thursday, and then he goes out and then comes back in the buyback, do you feel like, as a purist, should he be completely disqualified from people voting for him at the end of the game since he was voted out twice during the season?
This is really hard for me because I do, as the purist in me, totally sees the argument where if you're evicted, you should never be able to win. But it's also like, Big Brother, competition wins are a chunk of it. You know, I mean, it's not all about competition wins, but they are a big part of it. And he, over anyone else in history in Big Brother, has them. If he can come back in twice, that's the most impressive competition wins basically ever. And I think if he could do a good job at explaining that to the jury, maybe he deserves it, you know?
I feel like that if you get voted out of the game, you should not be able to win. People should not vote for you under any circumstances. But if you get voted out of the game twice and you come back, and that breaks the curse.
Yeah.
You have to go kiss the frog, and then all of a sudden you turn back into a prince. You broke the spell.
Although I'm just thinking of myself, like I'm thinking of my season. If I had been against someone in the final 2 who was voted out twice and they beat me, my head would have exploded. I would have been so mad. And so, like, yeah, it's hard for me, but.
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic. I think I would be very much all in on Victor. It's, it's tricky. I really want this, the Sitting Ducks and Big Meech to come together out of this
I do
group of
too.
7. This is the 3 that I sort of have a rooting interest in. That
Same.
they're try to be able to get it together and go up against these 2 showmances. But it just seems like it's a real uphill climb, Andy.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like that double date from hell, that Final 4 of
Yeah.
James and Natalie and Nicole and Corey. Yeah. Andy, so are you out on Natalie? Do you still kind of like
No,
Natalie?
I still like Natalie. I do. I still am invested in Natalie.
Yeah. All right. Who's getting the care package this week, Andy?
Paul?
Why hasn't America given him a care package yet?
I don't
What's
know,
been the
actually.
disconnect?
I was surprised that America gave it to Michelle over Paul, to be honest.
Yeah. I
Rob
really
thinks
was
it's
very
the beard.
surprised too. Yeah. Tyron, do you feel like that Paul came off well during this episode tonight? Do you think that he will be more likely to get it than, say, Corey on Friday, assuming Corey is in the house?
Honestly, I feel like Corey had that really funny segment where he was stripping off the American unitard thing, and I feel like Paul didn't get as much credit for flipping Natalie back as he might have, and he does come off a little aggressive, and the fact that he hasn't been getting the votes when I really thought he has been in the past, it does kind of concern me. It does make me think there is a chance that he might not get it, but I would still say I just feel like it seems impossible to me that he wouldn't, but
I know, I agree.
yeah. It's just like he hasn't
if
yet.
Corey
So.
gets it over Paul, God, like the audience sucks. Like, man.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah.
Andy, I also want to get your take on, and don't tell me what you have heard is going to be the case, but just talk it through in terms of James's move this week, where obviously Nicole is going to vote to keep Corey in the house, and Paul is going to vote to keep Victor in the house. James is the swing vote. What do you think for James's game is the best move come with Thursday for this vote?
I mean, I guess it's to get rid of Victor, like, because Nicole and Corey still want to work with him.
Can you make any sort of a case why it would be a better move to get rid of Corey? I mean, it doesn't then...
I mean, if he got rid of Corey, I guess he could curry the favor of the others, and it would basically just turn into then everyone versus Nicole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I wish there was I wish I could get more behind James going the other direction.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good move for him. Like, taking out Victor removes any sort of loyalty that Michelle has with with Paul, and basically takes her, it gives him all of her loyalty, and meanwhile he still has the loyalty of Nicole and Corey. He's basically put in the middle of those 2 ends of the house at that point, and he's in a really good position moving forward. But again, with this buyback looming, that could be the thing that ultimately seals his fate.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Anything else you want to touch on from the TV show?
Nah, I really liked this comp. I feel like I can't stress enough that I thought this comp was really neat.
It was a very fun competition. Taryn, you like the weather competition?
It was all right. I felt like they could have shown it a little better than they did, but
no, that's what Terry, we were saying that before you got on here. It was confusing.
Yeah,
I didn't know it started yet. I was like, oh, what is Natalie hosting the competition right now?
Yeah, and I didn't understand how they got 21 points. It was confusing.
It was very confusing, but I liked the idea behind it, and it was fun to see them in like the get-ups, like reading like reporters.
It was fun. Do you think they'll do this again in future seasons, Andy?
I would hope so, and I would hope that they actually present it in a way that is understandable to watch. So
yeah, I think we'll get it. We'll get it in the future seasons. Maybe they'll have like a blizzard or something like that in the next season. Okay, all right. So then let's go ahead and get into what's going on with the spoilers. If you're going to be bouncing out here, then we are going to be back on Thursday night. Ian Terry joins me with Brent Wolgamott on Thursday night, and then this Sunday I'll be back with Taryn for Glenn Garcia coming back to the...
That's a big one, yeah.
We got him.
We got him. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the Big Brother spoilers.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
a spoiler.
Warning.
A spoiler.
Warning means that an actual
spoiler
against this country has been detected, and that protective action should be taken.
As cleaning up in here. Nothing's where it's supposed to be. Where it's supposed to be tonight. All right. Here we go. So let's get into talking about the spoilers. All right, Taryn, at this hour, do we have any good news to report?
No, not really.
Not really. Okay. All right, so tomorrow night, Victor will be voted out barring any sort of craziness. Does he know yet, Taryn?
No, and I am a couple hours behind, but the last I saw, no, he still is not aware, but he is planning on like going to James and being like, listen, am I gonna go? Because he strongly suspects it's gonna happen, as does Paul.
Yeah. Boy, Andy, anything you could say to make us feel better?
No, but I mean, I'm bummed. I like Victor.
Yeah. All right. So the big then drama is going to be what happens with this buyback and who's coming back into the house. House guests are still completely unaware that somebody could come back, right?
I was reading only Paul is like under the impression that it could happen, right?
Well, Paul and Victor have been talking about it because they're interested in the idea that if Paul does or if Victor does go, that he could come back in. But like Nicole, like a bunch of people have tried talking about it with James, and they keep saying, this could be happening, and James is just like, no, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, in James's defense, I remember I used to talk like that. Like I'd be like, no way, like they're not bringing someone back. That's unfair, and it's just like it's like a technique just to like soothe your own mind,
Yeah. Andy, does it bother you if the people that are in the jury house have all sort of like traded notes with each other and then are potentially coming back into the house? And was that the case in your season?
They're not supposed to, no. I feel like Judd came back not really knowing anything.
Wow.
And so
he might have left not knowing anything.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
but yeah, I don't think I think they're like strictly prohibited from prohibited from talking game as much as they can prohibit them.
All right, so hold on. So you're telling me like Paulie and Zakiya are in bed? Is there a chaperone there, Andy?
Yeah, there are two handlers there that are constantly with everyone.
Hey, if you guys don't mind, could you turn around for a couple of minutes?
No, but I don't think they let you share beds either. Like I don't think they
Stop
can.
it. Stop.
No, for real.
Don't tell me Paulie and Zakiya are not pulling a real Nicole and Corey in the jury house right now.
I don't know. I never went to the jury house, so I don't know.
Yes, yeah, you know as much about jury houses as I do.
Yeah.
It is backed up though by the fact that like in these jury buybacks, the people that have come back, like Judd and like Nicole, they really didn't come back with any sort of information.
No, and it's like when they're doing the buyback, that's when like they'll start talking to each other. It's like, oh, we can't trust this person, or like blah 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 blah. But like I feel like they don't really talk about it in the house that much.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of what's going to be going on with the vote, then is there any update in terms of anything that I know the chat room is saying that potentially that Natalie has been talking with James?
I mean, Natalie has talked with James. I mean, Natalie has said a few times, like, we always could change our minds, but as far as I'm aware, like nothing anywhere near concrete has been flipped around.
Okay. All right. So then, Andy, do you have a pick for who's coming back in the buyback yet?
I would say Victor or Bridget.
Victor or Bridget. Taryn, do you want to go on the record for who's coming back for the buyback?
I mean, I think Victor probably has the best chance. Even though it might be a crapshoot, if it isn't a crapshoot, I think he has the best chance. So.
Do you think it's gonna be that type of shuffleboard competition where we saw back from when Nicole came back into the house in Big Brother 15 or 16?
I don't think it will be a shuffleboard, but it could be something similar, or it could be something just like quick and athletic, or maybe like a puzzle kind of thing. But I'm not sure exactly. But I'm guessing because like they put a lot of work into the revamping the competitions this year. They hired on Trevor from Big Brother Canada. I feel like they're not going to want to go with a crapshoot if they don't have to. So if I had to guess, I'd say like some sort of like slightly athletic puzzle type competition, but it's just a guess.
Some sort of slightly athletic puzzle competition.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, all right. That's a catchy hashtag. If we can make it work. Okay, let's try to drill down with a couple other questions, and I can also take some questions from the chat room as well because I can't bring up the YouTube stuff right now. Taryn, I have a question of Taryn. Talk about them freaking out about Paul making the fries. Can you talk about that?
Well, okay, so Paul has consistently talked about how he's worthless in the kitchen. He cannot cook for the life of him. But despite this, he's able to make amazing French fries. And so this has really sketched Natalie and Nicole out. They're they're like, similar to the whole atheist thing, they're like, why is he so good at making French fries if he can't cook? And I think at one
he
point...
owns a Sonic!
I think at one point Nicole or Natalie was saying, like, it wouldn't surprise me if he owned like some French fry chain or was like a professional French fry cook or something. Like, it's so absurd.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Better get that beard in a hairnet, Andy.
Yeah. I mean, although in their defense, I feel like you go through so many conspiracy theories about that, about everybody. I mean, we thought Judd was the genius on our season, so.
Yeah. And don't forget, Donnie is a CIA operative. And,
Yeah.
That's the stuff that the house gets come up with. All right. Looks like we have the ability to bring back some of the questions now that Scott is here. So let's give this a shot. This is from Sam Star, who says, should Nicole vote out Corey this week? Corey said that if Nicole voted him out at the final three and didn't take him to the end, she wouldn't have his vote, but right now she can blame James. Should Nicole vote Corey out this week? Is there, Andy, do you see any reason for Nicole to even entertain that thought?
I mean, yes, man, I would love it. And then if, like, in a perfect world, Nicole would vote Corey out and then work with Victor and Michelle and Paul, and I would die a happy man. But that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Probably not. I mean, Taryn, did you see anything to do that instead of that's not fanfiction?
No, it won't happen, and I don't think it should. I mean, I think it should happen in the sense that it'd get Nicole's head back in the game, but as far as her position goes, it's much better to have him there as a shield.
Okay. Then Jamie Newstell says, could the fact that Paul hasn't gotten a care package yet be making the house guests assume that he's the new Paulie? That Andy, is there anything to the house guests reading into Paul not getting a care package that say, oh, he must be the villain, America must hate him?
Yeah, I think that could for sure make them think that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try another question. Actually, Taryn, are they talking in that way?
They haven't really been, but it wouldn't surprise me if it sort of like if it like affected them some way on a subliminal level of just like we're all getting care packages and these people still haven't, and that makes them feel a little bit like we're probably a little better than them.
We're the good people.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's take one from Vincent Duncan II. Since sleeping in the HOH bed at the wrong time got the target back on Paul, do we call this Napgate? Probably not that big a deal, right?
Yeah. I don't know, yeah. If Paul was like being evicted this week over it, sure, but I think Napgate is passed.
I think we'll get over it. I think we'll get over it.
Yeah.
There's 500. Who can Natalie actually beat in the final two? I know her viewers have noticed her strategy, but do the people in the house and jury just think that she's dumb? Andy, could you speak to that? Do you have any idea of how the house is perceiving Natalie?
I think it could come down to her speeches at the end. I mean, if she's like cutesy and bubbly and like not that smart or strategic, it could be a big problem for her. And so we'll see. But I think she's smarter than people give her credit for, so I want to say that I think she'd be able to adequately portray what she's done.
Taryn, what do you think about the perception of Natalie among the jury voters?
It's a really tricky one to figure out because she hasn't had a lot of credit with people in the game, and even from what we've seen of the jury, we haven't seen her have a whole lot of credit with the jury so far. We know that Paulie's going into the jury. I'm sure he's not going to give her any credit. And again, like, we have seen a decent amount of people give James credit. But at the same time, we've seen a lot of people saying that Natalie controls James and that she's been playing him the whole time. So I think that, if anything, the perception that she's playing James and doesn't really care for him could be the thing that wins her the game over James. But if she sits in the final two and denies it the whole time and says that she really does care for James, it could push them toward James.
Well, and I feel like she's one of those people that would benefit from like actually giving really, really honest goodbye messages and being like, hey, like kind of like me. It's like I know that you didn't really think I was doing much, but I was behind like a major force behind why you left. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's take a couple more questions. This is from Not Kevin. Just started rewatching BB18, and I can't quite make out the house guest who's playing the Andy game, if you will. I'm assuming in Big Brother 18, not in Big Brother 15.
Okay.
Who do you think matches up the most to Andy?
I mean, I guess Paul.
Paul playing the Andy game. Taryn, would you agree with that?
It's hard. I don't like. There are a lot of people
yeah.
doing like some things here and there that could be somewhat attributed to Andy, but
So like the thing is, like I feel, I'm trying to think of a way to say this without making myself sound like an asshole.
I'll say it for you, but like they're not any good.
In order to play my game, you just can never be caught. So like, but everyone's been caught numerous times, and so I feel like then they can't keep playing my game, and so I don't really know if anybody is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't think that Nicole is playing some sort of a similar game?
I think she's trying. Yeah.
In principle. Yeah.
And I feel like
All right,
I honestly think like I remember having a conversation with her like a few months before she went in about like playing out of fear and like always being nervous and never wanting the target on your back, and I'm actually seeing her kind of like taking that to heart,
Okay. One or two more questions here with Andy. Justin Uhak, not Nick Uhak. Why did Meech put up Corey when Nicole is a much better player? Is just the competitions, Andy?
I mean, I think we already kind of covered this. It was that coupled with the fact that he could possibly get a care package, I guess.
And people were pushing it basically. Like she just caves to what people tell her to do basically.
All right, and one more question. This is from Thigh Tan. Andy, since you're close to Nicole, did you give her any advice before she left for the game?
I did not know. To be honest, I had no idea she was leaving to go back on the show. And so I feel like I did not actually sit down with her and like give her any advice prior to going back. No, but I did talk to her about like strategy and stuff quite a bit, just as friends.
You didn't sit her down and say, "Hey, look, Nicole, if James is there, you work with James, get in the showmance, get to the Final Four, get a care package from James. Worst comes to worst, you get $10,000 Western Union to you."
You know what, Rob? You figured me out. I'm going to be honest. I did tell her all of that, and so everyone has me to blame for what's happened this season.
All right. One more. Anthony966. Should they do another special episode this Friday to recap what happened after the buyback? Andy, did you like the recap episode from Friday?
No. It was boring.
All right. So you don't like having 4 nights a week of Big Brother?
No, 3 is plenty, and I love Big Brother, and I still say 3 is plenty.
All right. 3 is going to be what we're going to do for Survivor Australia, Andy, starting next week.
I'm excited, yeah.
Did you watch the first week of Survivor Australia?
No, but I've heard really good things, and I'm going to try to.
Yes. Are you excited about the Millennials versus the Gen Xers?
Not really, but hopefully that'll change my mind by the time it starts.
Are you hoping that the Big Brother digital season will be a Millennial versus Gen Xer season?
No.
No. Okay. All right, Taryn, what should we be on the lookout for on the feeds over the next 24 hours?
Okay, so I did just quickly catch up a little bit right before the episode started. The conversation that the chat room, I believe, was referring to, Natalie was talking to James, saying that she was kind of changing her mind, thinking maybe we should keep Victor because she doesn't really trust Nicole and Corey. But James seems to have talked her out of it, saying, we need to take emotion out of this. This is the right thing to do. Natalie seems concerned that this is good for James's game, but not for hers. So we could theoretically see her push again tomorrow to be like, hey, listen, this is how I really feel. I really want you to back me on this. And James being James, he could back down. So far, he's been able to keep her from pushing too hard, though. So I wouldn't hope for it too much, but that seems to be the only... It's a lot more hope than there was before.
Okay. Taryn, could you explain to me what is the difference between James's game and Natalie's game? I mean, it feels like to this point that they've sort of been each other's automatic final 2, no talk of going to the final 2 with anyone else. How are their interests separate?
Um, I think that Natalie is concerned that James's interests are separate. She doesn't really trust James, which is kind of silly considering who James is.
Yeah.
But she's concerned that James has a final two with Nicole, and that he has this kind of connection with her. She even said, like, you talking with Nicole sometimes makes me feel a certain kind of way. And I think she's feeling a little insecure in this moment. And ultimately, I think it's probably because James is kind of, he's a more experienced player, and he's not like the best player in the world, but he's a little more comfortable and has a little bit more of an idea of what he's doing in the game, and that, I think, makes Natalie feel uncomfortable. Like, you're talking about, me taking my emotions out of this, and that, this is the right strategic move. But is it the right strategic move for me, or are you just kind of playing this game? And so that could be interesting to watch out for. But like, obviously, this is James, and he cares more about this, relationship with Natalie and being America's favorite than actually winning the game.
Boy, Andy, could you imagine if Victor somehow stays in the house, Corey ends up going out? What a live show it would be tomorrow.
Oh man, yeah, it would be great.
And then he comes right back in the door. It's like Nicole. I really do think that Nicole would be very dangerous if she was going to be able to wake up and smell the coffee and not have Corey there. Be very interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Okay. Andy, you watching anything else good this summer?
I mean, I watch MasterChef, which I really like. I just started watching The Night Of on HBO, which has been great.
Yes. I've heard good things.
RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star starts tomorrow, which I'm very excited about.
We've got the RHAP up on reality TV RHAP ups.
I know. No, I'm very excited about that. I watched Difficult People on Hulu, which I'm obsessed with. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Andy, always a pleasure to have you here on the podcast.
Always so fun. Yeah, I love it.
Yes. All right. Of course, tomorrow night, Ian Terry will be with us on the show, 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time, start time for that. Glenn will be on the podcast with us on Sunday night. Very excited for that. The now Twitter verified Glenn Garcia, Andy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, he's ready to go. He's all blue, check
How
marked.
did that happen? I don't get it. Like,
he's a legend.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, what do you mean, how did that happen?
Well, I was told you had to be like on the show for a certain amount of time to get verified, but he was on for one day, so...
Twitter has some sort of a rule book of like, you must be in the Big Brother house for at least...
that's what I heard from like the salty people from my cast who aren't verified, so I don't know. From
you think Twitter has a policy on that?
From the non-verified scum from my cast, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the right person. I think it's all gravy.
Yeah. You groom the right dogs, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Is Jody verified yet on Twitter?
No, I don't think so. Which is actually very, very sad.
Yeah, she will be soon.
Yeah.
She will be. Even Jody will be verified before I am.
No, I'm telling you guys. The day that I was verified, I was the first one from my cast. I went to lunch. After lunch, I had 5 voicemails from 5 separate cast members, like, inquiring how it had happened.
Yeah, don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Yeah.
All right, so very exciting to get into it all with Glenn coming up. And, of course, after we have whatever happens on Thursday, we'll be back with another update on Friday. Plus, lots of other stuff going on here on the podcast. We did a very fun, speaking of Jody and Glenn, we did a very fun Survivor podcast on Tuesday night. We drafted teams of, if you had one person to pick with your life on the line of the all first boot season, who's the winner? Andy, who would you pick if you could pick one Survivor first boot in a season of first boots? Who would you pick?
Oh man, I think I'm going Deb season 2.
Okay, yeah, all right. So that was a fun podcast with Kurt Clark and Angie Kantz and Sarah Freeman. And then also last night, Nicole and I recorded part 1 of our Millennials versus Gen X preview. We talked all about the Millennials. That podcast is going to drop Thursday night on RHAP. So make sure you don't miss any of that. Go to robisawebsite.com/iTunes. Taryn, thank you so much for pinch hitting for Alex tonight.
Of course.
Okay. All right, he owes you one. At Armstrong Taryn is Taryn on Twitter. The verified Andy Herren is at Andy Herren. Matthew Berry's favorite Big Brother player?
I love Matthew Berry. Get him on the show soon.
I know. Well, that you and he had like a whole conversation. You know, Matthew Berry's in a Twitter feud, I think, with the Nolan twins.
Oh
Oh
my.
no, why? What happened?
They spoiled Big Brother for him last week.
Oh no.
They
Okay,
were
that's
like,
a
"Why are you
bummer.
on Twitter right now if you're not watching?" He's like, "I'm working. I'm doing my job. I have to be on Twitter."
Ugh. Okay, that's heartbreaking.
Spoilers ruin everything.
They ruin everything.
They
All
ruin
right, so
relationships.
yeah, but it's a very busy time of year for him. I'm surprised he's even paying attention to Big Brother.
Yeah.
A lot of fantasy football going on. All right, so that's going to do it for us here tonight, and looking forward to being back with you guys again tomorrow night after the eviction. Should be a fun one. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.